And good afternoon. Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN right here in Elgin. Today is Wednesday. That's right, it's Wednesday, the 23rd of May, 2012, and it's after 3 o'clock. You know what we do on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. You got it. You guys out there listening, you want to lose weight fast? You want to get rich quick? Do you want to look young forever? Well, guess what? This is the place to be. AM 1410, it's the home of the Laura Dion-Jones Show. And I am all alone in the studio today. I'm all by myself. Why? Because Laura Dion-Jones is down south in Springfield, Illinois. That's right, the state capital, where she's doing a live remote. Laura, you there?
We are here, connected, plugged in, and live, coming to you from the Illinois State Capitol Rotunda.
Absolutely fantastic.
I am absolutely delirious today to be broadcasting live in person from the Rotunda in Springfield. Seriously, I know I've used that term before, but I really, seriously am delirious being here. I never got to come here as a kid, so this is like super exciting. And then to be a guest of Illinois State Senator Carol Pancroft. Hi there. How are you? Here she is. This is our awesome hostess we got here.
We are sitting in the rotunda of the state capitol. So all this noise that you hear behind us, there's all kinds of people going up and down elevators, moving in and out of the capitol. It's noisy. It's noisy. It's very noisy.
Exciting. And is it like this all the time?
Most days that we're in session, yes.
And
you will usually have one or two groups every single day we're in session. Maybe not in January or February.
Oh, sure.
But starting in March, April, May, while we're down here, you'll have one or two groups every day. And today we had a whole group of a large number of people. I don't know how many. Maybe you could. Because you actually went out and looked.
Well, we were on all the floors.
Right.
And they were on all the floors.
They were wearing green shirts, and they were trying to save Dwight. I guess the governor is scheduled to be at Dwight Prison tomorrow, and he wants to close the prison. And so they're all going to start losing their jobs and their family's income and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
they were very loud about their demand to save Dwight. So, and then the day before that, we had SEIU down here, which is a union, a Service Employees International Union, I think.
Okay.
That's what SEIU stands for. They were talking about cuts to providers that had been made, and therefore to their people who provide services both in nursing homes and at home care. So they were down here yesterday. And in between that, you usually have, a school group here or there. Just as I was walking down the hall before I sat down at the table here with you, I see we have maybe some third or fourth graders lined up on the side. So that's usually when they're getting ready to take the tour of the Capitol. So, a lot of activity.
At all ages.
A lot of noise, a lot of hustle and bustle. And in between, you've got different lobbyists. Those are the guys in the suits. You can always tell the lobbyists. They're in the suits with the ties and very expensive telephones.
Oh, yeah.
That they're carrying around them all the time. So they're emailing, they're telephoning, they're whatever. They always have something up to their ear.
Getting instructions.
Oh, yes. So you're going to go to this committee, go to that committee. In fact, you even went up to a committee and sat in on it today, didn't you, Laura?
You know something? I went into when I was in Senator, how do we say his name?
Luptenfeld. Dave Luptenfeld.
Yes.
He's from way south, Greenville area, almost to St. Louis.
Because when the green shirts were there, the people from Dwight, protesting the pension and everything, we squeezed in the room in his office with him. And, they were asking him all kinds of questions, and he said that he is the only legislator who is not on the pension roll for the senators. He said the only pension that I'll have is a very small one from being a school teacher.
And yes, he was a school teacher and coach, basketball coach, hence his nickname, Coach.
Oh, no kidding? Yeah, I was wondering why they called him that.
Dave Luptenfeld, his nickname is Coach.
Okay.
And he coached basketball for years and years and years. So, yes, I want to say 30, 40 years.
Oh, no kidding, because he was very proud of that, being a teacher and having the teacher's pension. And he said he wouldn't give that up for the world. And when they were pressing him to make a pledge to vote to not close Dwight or to vote to keep their pensions going, he said that he can't make a pledge because it will work to guarantee, he will work to guarantee the pensions for the workers, but he says it makes no sense to commit his vote until he sees the entire bill, because the bills change. From today when he looks at it, I'll make you the pledge, and then when it finally comes to pass, he said it could be entirely different. So is that true, or was it just given some thought?
We've heard lots of things in the newspapers about pension reform, about Medicaid reform, but none of those things are in bill form yet. And the devil is always in the details. And is there now, Laura? Did you just hear that bell?
Yes.
It went off.
Yes.
That ding, 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 ding.
Are they calling you back to the
No,
floor?
that's from the House.
Okay.
And that means that they are about to vote.
Oh.
So when they ding, 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 ding,
okay,
that means get ready. They're about to vote on a bill.
Like if you're in the bathroom, race back to your seat, that kind of thing. Otherwise, you're going to miss the vote.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is there a set amount of...
That's the cue that there's about to be a vote taken on a bill in one of the two chambers when they ring the bell.
Okay, you're not going to miss the vote. What's the Senate ding-ding?
The Senate is recessed right now.
Oh.
Because we're doing committees.
Okay.
Committee action.
Okay.
So we did go back on the floor. You got to sit in my chair.
I got to sit in Senator's
Senate
chair.
And we did some procedural issues. We didn't vote on anything.
Okay.
But this next time when we go back, we understand that the Senate Democrats are going to try and run their budget bills.
Oh, no kidding.
So
what time is that going to start?
Well, after 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock tonight.
Oh, no, I won't be
So
around.
you'll probably be here till 8 or 9 tonight.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's why you should see the chairs the senators have. When you see them on TV, they are every bit as comfortable and cushy as they look like on TV, because their butts are plastered in those chairs for hours and hours.
But Laura, those are guy chairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
they are very long in the seat.
Yeah.
And maybe for us, a few of us women types who have shorter legs,
I get
it gets very uncomfortable.
Does it really?
Oh, yes.
I wasn't sitting in your chair long enough to know.
No, you weren't.
Listen, let me ask you a few things. People have been asking me to ask you, what are some of the priorities that you think are in store for Illinois moving forward? What do you see?
Medicaid reform, pension reform, and, of course, the budget.
And where do you stand on those things?
Well, the Medicaid reform we absolutely have to do, and we have to put something in place before we attack this year's budget.
Okay.
Because otherwise, this year's budget will have a $2.7 billion hole in it.
No way.
Yes. So we have to do some Medicaid reform to fill that hole. And so we'll see how everything comes around now. Monday, this last Monday, 2 days ago, Speaker of the House, Mike Madigan, introduced his Medicaid reform bill.
Okay.
It was all one bill, all one package. He put it out there.
Did we like it?
Yesterday, he pulled it all back, stripped it out of the bill, but didn't move the bill over. Just let it sitting there.
Why?
So he has 3 or 4 bills that are sitting there for Medicaid reform, but they don't have anything in them right now. So what Senator Lechtenfeld was telling you about not making a commitment, like I will absolutely vote for Bill 2345. Okay. You don't ever do that, because the next day it could be Bill 3456.
Oh yeah, with something totally different.
The numbers change, the bills change, what's in the bills change, until it's before you in what they call third reading form, which is the final form. After all amendments are added, you've had your debate, all that sort of stuff. Until you get to that third reading form, you can talk about concepts, you can agree in principle, you can agree philosophically, but you never make a commitment, because it'll change.
And then the constituents will be angry.
Well, yeah.
You know, because
you said you were going to vote for Bill 1234. How come you didn't? Well, because that wasn't the bill that ever got presented to me.
Because they took the good stuff out that I said that's why I was going to vote for it.
Or they moved it to another bill. Or instead of taking a House bill, they took a Senate bill and added it to the Senate bill and then shifted it back over to the Senate again. I mean, there are so many different ways you can do things down here. It's unbelievable.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Is there a set amount of time how long it takes a bill to get passed from like the first reading to the third?
No.
No, everything is different. It just depends what's in the bill and what's taken out. And
the only thing that is consistent is the process.
Oh.
You must introduce a bill. You must get it out of committee. You must get it to third reading. It must pass that chamber.
Okay.
Then it's got to go to the other chamber.
Oh, okay.
It's got to go through that exact
same
process.
1, 2, and 3 readings?
Yep.
No way.
And when it gets to the governor's desk, it must be in the exact, down to every comma, every period, everything, the exact same form as it passed both houses.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, absolutely. So you can't have one bill pass one chamber that's generally about this, another bill pass another chamber that's generally about that, and these bills get to the governor's desk. No, they have to pass both chambers exactly in the very same form.
No kidding.
Then it gets to the governor's desk. Then you have to deal with the governor.
Does he get 3 readings also?
No, he gets one
chance, one reading.
And he can do one of 3 things though. He can either sign it and say okay, and then it becomes law. He can amendatorily veto it, which means he changes something in it.
Okay.
And then the chief sponsor, whichever house it started in, has the right to either say, okay, I'll agree to that change, or no, I'm going to fight you on this, Governor. And that's what they call an amendatory veto. You can move to override the governor's amendatory veto.
No kidding. This is a good thing because you're helping demystify the legislative process here in Springfield for a lot of people who don't remember their civics lessons when they were in school, like moi. This has been an education for me today.
And then, of course, his third choice is to completely
throw it out?
the bill.
Oh, gosh.
Completely. And then, of course, the chief sponsor has a right to ask to override the governor's veto.
Oh, no kidding.
But for that, you need an extraordinary majority.
Oh,
you can't just pass it the way you do a regular bill. You've got to have more votes on top of it.
You know,
so a regular bill in the Senate takes 30 votes. To override a governor's veto or a mandatory veto takes 36 votes.
Oh, no kidding. Yes. Well, listen, we're not going to override or veto this. You're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we are on the air live from the Illinois State Capitol Rotunda in Springfield, Illinois. And we're talking about all sorts of interesting stuff today, government, whatever. And joining us now is Illinois State Senator Carol Pankow, and she is from the 23rd District. And I have another question for you.
Yeah.
And I think you may have already answered this, but we can go over it again. What, in your opinion, are the 3 biggest issues facing Illinois? So we touched on Medicaid.
Medicaid pension reform.
Pension reform, yes.
Huge issue. Illinois is way underfunded for its pensions, and we have to make some changes. We've already made one change, which was Senate Bill 1313, which we actually passed a week or 2 ago.
Okay.
And it would say that if you are a Illinois state retiree,
okay,
you will not get your health insurance for free any longer. You will have to pay something.
Okay.
It'll be on a sliding scale, and it'll be based on how many years you were there. It'll be based on how much money you made, all that sort of stuff. But a certain percentage you will have to pay of your health insurance. There is no free lunch anymore.
Not anymore.
There is no more free health insurance. It was the biggest portion of the pension liability that was growing at the fastest rate, because medical expenses are just shooting up and up and up every year, much faster than inflation.
Oh, yeah.
So that is basically what they are looking at. So we're already looking at that. Now we're looking at, and 2 years ago, in 2010, we actually passed pension reform for new employees.
Okay, and that...
So ones that started after January 1st, 2011, you were considered a new employee, and you were considered a Tier 2 employee. So you have less benefits. You're paying in the same amount. You're going to get less benefits. It's a defined benefit No. Defined benefit as opposed to defined payment.
Okay.
So basically what you're paying in, you'll get back out. You could choose a 401k or you could do some other things.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's already been changed. Now we're talking about existing employees like moi.
Yeah. And you've been here a long time. It's
I have
the
been
House and the Senate both.
Well, it was in the House for 12 years and now the Senate for 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that I will no longer, there will be some adjustments in what my pension program will be going forward. And it's got to be done, Laura. It's got to be done.
No, it doesn't. People are just having the hardest time with it, especially those people that I met today who were up here from Dwight and some other people were here just about the pension fund in general. And they just, they don't understand it, and it's our entitlement. And you know what? I don't think we can count on those entitlements anymore.
No. There's no. It used to be that government jobs were pretty low-paying jobs, but you always had that pension promise down the road, and that was your little sweetener to the job.
Okay.
Now, government jobs are very well paid, and you have these very nice pensions on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have people that, through the way they maneuver the system, actually make more retired than they did while they were working.
I've heard that. Is that really true?
It is really true.
Wow.
And that is just not the way the system was designed.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to help you out once you retired, but it wasn't to allow you to make more in retirement than you actually made while you were working.
And especially on the taxpayer's dime.
And when you were working, you had a very good salary. So, yeah. I mean, life has changed. The real world has changed out there, and it's time that Illinois changes too, particularly when we're talking about their pensions.
I agree. Particularly when we're talking about a lot of things. So what do you think another thing would be, the third thing, besides Medicare, Medicaid, pension?
We have to stop spending. So budget, I would say, is the third thing. We have to stop spending more than what we're bringing in. And this is the first year this is the second year, actually, that the House, both the Republicans and Democrats, have established have agreed on a revenue figure.
Okay.
So they have agreed on what amount of revenue is going to be coming in next year.
Okay.
They have taken a little bit of that, not that much when you consider the entire budget, and said, okay, we're going to use that to start paying off the old bills.
Mm-hmm.
It's about $600 million, which isn't a ton of money.
It's not?
Well, not when
you're park that in my bank account, honey.
Not when you're budgeting $32 billion.
Oh, well, you do have a point. Yeah, it's all relative.
But we've got to start paying off the old bills. And then we have to make cuts in certain areas so that we don't spend more than what we're bringing in.
Wouldn't that be ideal?
Yes. And for the past 6 years, that's basically what we've done. We have spent more money than we have brought in as revenue.
I think a lot of people have, a lot of governments, city governments, and I think people in general, because we were just riding that wave and everybody thought it was never going to end, and nobody thought what happened with the economy was going to happen.
Right. Nobody thought that home values would go down like they have.
Please.
Nobody thought that, oh my goodness, we'll have more and more revenue every year. Well, we have had more and more revenue, but we had two huge expenses, two huge, what they call the 600-pound gorillas in our budget, which was Medicaid and pensions.
Mm-hmm.
So, like last year, in January, my Democratic colleagues voted through a 67% personal income tax increase that we're all paying now in this state. It brought in $7 billion. They used every penny of that. Every penny of that for the pension payment.
Oh, no way.
Every penny of it went into the pension payment. So they didn't pay down any bills. We still have our doctors, hospitals, pharmacists, nursing homes waiting 9, 10, 11 a year to get paid.
I know Little Angels Home for the Developmentally Disabled. I'm not sure if they're in your district or not, but you know who they are.
Yes.
I know they wait a long time to get their money from the state. And it's people can't do it, especially when they manage that kind of care.
Right.
This is it's interesting.
Yeah. So that's what's happening.
What can the government do to help the residents of Illinois, especially those struggling in the current economic environment? What do you think they can do to help us?
Pass a truly balanced budget this year. Say we absolutely are not going to spend more than what we bring in. That's what people are doing. That's
we're
what
all doing
people
it.
in their own finances are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means that they have to maybe go shopping with coupons now where they didn't before, maybe they watch the sales more closely and look and see when the big sales are on, and that's when they go and buy things.
And repurpose what they have, kind of.
Repurpose
you know what
you have.
Yes.
Have a staycation.
Sure.
Instead of going on a vacation, instead of going somewhere, you go somewhere locally.
Come to Springfield. Come and learn about what
It's very hot here in the summer, though.
I bet it is. But you know what? It's so
on any given day, whatever the temperature is in the metropolitan Chicago area,
how many?
It is generally 6 to 10 degrees warmer down in Springfield than it is in the metropolitan Chicago area.
I thought it was going to be warmer today, but I wasn't sure it was going to be that warm today. It's like August here, kids.
And that's the only actual good part about being down here in springtime.
Okay.
Because I actually get to see two springs.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Spring comes about 2 weeks earlier in Springfield than it does in the metropolitan Chicago area. So, yeah, that's great, because then I can have two springs.
Well, we just helped demystify the legislative process, if you ask me, for the average citizen, because I've had it demystified for me the whole day. And look who we have here.
Yes, come on, Chris.
Come and join us. Have a seat. Here, do you want to put these on? No, you don't want to put the headphones on and look like you're going to land a plane? Or you want to... No. Speak to the mic.
Okay.
Speak to the mic. And now we have
Laura, it's great to...
Illinois State Senator Chris Lawson.
You look like we're taking off now.
Don't I?
Yeah.
I'll get the tower. Okay. And Chris Lawson is a Republican, and he's from the 25th District in the Illinois State Senate.
And a fan of Carol Pankhouse. No, come on.
And no, I'm going to ask him some of the same questions that we asked you. What do you feel are the priorities for Illinois moving forward?
We have to get our fiscal house in order.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a pro-employment environment so that people have jobs so that they can take care of themselves rather than, turning to the government to save them.
Pro-employment environment.
Right. And then under the budget, our fiscal house in order. That means that the budget's got to be in shape, and the big issues on that are Medicaid or health care welfare, and the pension obligation that we have. So those are the two big ones that have bankrupted us.
I know. But you know what? It's sad because people who are pensions are at stake. They're like, yeah, balance the budget, but don't touch my pension. Don't touch my money. Don't touch my benefits, my this, my that.
Tax anybody, but, just...
Don't tax me.
Right. Isn't that something? And actually, with the tax increase last year, a year ago, they almost doubled our taxes. They increased it
67%. Carol was
so almost a doubling. And with all that extra money, it was literally $6.5 billion of more money that they can spend this year rather than last year. And they're cutting social services like Asset House in Aurora, the homeless shelters, early childhood learning, other benefits. It's amazing. They have all this money, and unfortunately, what's happening is going to Medicaid, where they have eligibility people who either are illegal immigrants or are have to afford it like the rest of us. They're getting it paid by the state taxpayers or the public employee pensions.
Okay.
So that's where the money is going.
I know how people feel about their pensions because I was married to a Chicago police officer.
Yes.
Back in another life.
Yes.
And I know what their pensions were, and I know a lot of people who work for the city of Chicago. I know more who work for the city of Chicago than who work down here at the state. And they kind of feel the same way. Don't touch my pension benefits. Don't touch my medical. I got free dental, free eye, free this, free that. And the rest of us are like, We got to pay when we go to the dentist. We got to pay when we go get our eyes examined.
That's right. The people who are listening to your show who are not employed by government or a state or a state government have to pay, have to contribute. Even the teachers have to contribute in theirs. And this idea that and the cost of that last year was 680 million. This year it's going to cost the state taxpayers 880 million.
Okay.
So 33% more. And then next year it's supposed to be over $1 billion.
Oh my
But
God.
there was a Senate Bill 1313 that was voted. That it was a tough vote, but it was the right thing because just we have to start contributing to our
Everybody.
medications.
Wow. What can government do to help the residents of Illinois, especially those struggling in the current economic environment? What ideas do you have?
Run more efficiently. The idea that they're raising the taxes rather than lowering the taxes is a mistake. After they had passed that tax increase, I was getting 3 calls a day from constituents, actually seniors with money,
Okay.
with assets, or employers with jobs who are just saying that they're leaving. People used to call.
Leaving the state?
Leaving the state.
Oh, no
They're
kidding.
voting with their feet. They're
Okay.
saying, I'm out of here.
Okay.
Because they can go other places and it doesn't cost them so much to live. Our property taxes, we're having our homes slowly confiscated from us because the property taxes keep going up. So, but it's the spending that then drives those tax increases. So until we're willing to get involved in political campaigns, to get people elected who say, I'm going to freeze the property tax levy like we're going to do in the the Kane County Board race.
Yes.
The Fox Valley Park District by appointment, and then the Forest Preserve. And it's, the big portion of our tax bills are in the schools, spending for the schools. But that's up to the school boards, and we have the power to elect those people.
We sure do. Listen, what you're doing is listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we're on the air live, Illinois State Capitol Rotunda in Springfield, and we are talking to Illinois State Senator Chris Lawson, one of my favorite state senators ever, next to Carol Hancock.
Yes,
next to Carol. I mean, we gotta, give credit where credit is due.
No, she just walked away, so now I'm your favorite.
Okay, yes, you are. You're right. You and your grapefruit over there. Listen, it's just like that. It's halftime, so hold those thoughts. We'll be right back in a moment with some terrific talk. Stay tuned, guys and gals, because you're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show. And we'd like to thank our very special sponsors.
Dr. Claire Olea. She practices at 2001 Larkin Avenue right here in Elgin. Not down in Springfield, but no, right here in Elgin is where you'll find Dr. Claire Oleos. She diagnoses and treats common spinal misalignments that occur from lifestyle or injuries causing pain, discomfort, and degenerative conditions. Dr. Claire Oleos may be able to treat back pain, sciatica, neck pain, shoulder pain, headaches, sports injuries, and work-related injuries all together. You can find it only at Dr. Claire Oleos. To learn more or make an appointment with Dr. Claire Oleos, please call 847-888-9988. That's Dr. Claire Oleos, 847-888-9988. Back to you, Laura.
Oh, wonderful. And would also like to thank snobhounds.com, a canine clothing company. Think Nike meets Donna Karen, but for canines. And we'd also like to thank KC Tool, an automotive specialty tool company, available through your Snap-on mobile tool distributor. And a very special thank you to Casey again for making this show and all of our shows possible. We're doing stuff a little bit out of order today because we have to accommodate the senators because they've been in caucus and committee and this and that and everything. We're back on the air now live with Illinois State Senator Chris Lawson. And let me ask you something. What's the secret to your success? Come to personal questions. You're going to be praying.
I think that's the last time that we were together. I think that what I try to concentrate on is feeling what other people feel, what my constituents feel. So, when people say, well, one word that might describe you, Chris, I would hope, and what I try is that it be empathy.
Sure. You're an empath.
Trying.
Yeah.
Kind of like you.
I am. A couple of my doctors say that I'm an empath because I have the ability to talk to people about their health and fitness and their weight and put myself exactly in their shoes because I lived there my whole life.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not like me coming in and saying, oh, gee whiz, you got to lose weight and motivating and doing this, that, and the other thing. I lived it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're going through if you weigh 350 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
good.
just, it's a good thing to be.
You know, I figure that if people understand that we're here to serve you rather than some of these people. You know, I had the most interesting experience on Sunday. My wife Sarah and I, you know, all of my background, my 4 grandparents came from Romania.
Okay.
From the northwest corner of Romania. Actually, it's the Transylvania, northern Romania. So
you're related to Dracula.
Yeah. So, have you ever been to Southeastern Europe?
No, but if I go, I am definitely going there, and I am going to mention your name.
Oh, well, actually, I got a chance to sit down for a second time for a 30-minute conversation with the president of Romania while he was at NATO. But the experience of going down there, Sunday morning after Mass, jump in the car, expressways were like a wasteland. It was like a desert, nobody on it. But when you got to Chicago, even within about maybe 4 or 5 blocks of where the dignitaries were staying, all of a sudden everything locked up, everything was stopped. So, you know, I drive our car down this alley because I had enough time, but I didn't have time to wait to be on time for this meeting over at the Drake Hotel. And I go down this alley. It's blocked by a Chicago police officer's car. I thought, well, when I looked down a block alley, I thought, well, I'll be able to go around the back or around the front. Mm-hmm. No, it was strategically placed. I couldn't get by. But as we're waiting there, trying to figure out, well, now what are we going to do? Because we still had about 7, 8 blocks to travel, and I didn't want to hook with everything. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, like 8 motorcycles come by, and there's a couple of advanced SUVs, and then there's the biggest stretch limousine comes by with the United States flag and then the flag of the President of the United States.
No way.
And then like 20, and I said 20 other cars. And I when I was recounting this, I said, you know, maybe there were 3 or 4 cars. And Sarah goes, and my wife Sarah, said, no, Chris, there were 20 to 30 more cars in that motorcade. And so here is everybody locked in a traffic jam for about 20 minutes, all waiting for politicians. And I don't. And the only time that I've ever seen that in any other country was in Bucharest.
Oh, no.
Was in Eastern Europe. You know, that communist, former communist hierarchy where, you know, the big shots, you know, drive around and they don't have to live in traffic jams with the best, you know, with the best of us, you know, like the rest. And it makes them so out of touch. And I thought, wow, what I just saw there
was like a flashback.
That's not the American way.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that we, that our politicians are accountable and that they live the same kind of lives we do.
You know, I live downtown Chicago, and I live at Kingsbury and Grant, 500 North, 500 West, and I walk my dogs. I walk 5 miles around. I was right in the middle of it, but what really impressed me was when they had a motorcade, say, coming off the Kennedy at Ohio, the police were all at the intersections, on the way to Michigan Avenue where like you were at the Drake. And then all of a sudden they would get a call and they would all jump in the cars because they had their cars parked around and they would go to one street over to Ontario and do the same thing because then somebody else was leaving. But we did get to see, was Biden here? Because I could swear I saw Biden was waving out of one of the SUVs or something. And if it wasn't him, it was a Biden lookalike. Let me tell you that. But it was, you know what? When you said the expressway was a wasteland, a lot of the streets downtown were a wasteland because the coppers. That's absolutely, and it was incredible to see this whole thing unfold. But here's why I brought this up, because my hat is off to Terry McCarthy. The police chief of Chicago. These people were so choreographed. The police and also they weren't police, but they were the traffic management. Those people were so well choreographed that because I had been all over the city watching and observing this thing. So if they're using Chicago as a model for like other cities and everything, it was truly impressive.
They did a great job because those people were. There were some folks among the thousands of people who wanted to exercise their First Amendment right. There were a small group of folks who were just trying to taunt the authority, just trying to drag out the patience and the professionalism. I mean, There was some violence in the end, but I thought they did a great job.
I thought they did a fabulous
And my
job.
guess, knowing you would have talked to a bunch of those police officers, as you were making your...
I was, yeah.
Sure. And you sense the excitement. You sense that, well, this is Sunday best behavior. They didn't have to be reminded by people from out of town, the whole world is watching, the whole world is like, no, they understood that we have guests in town, and we want...
The whole world is watching. The whole world was watching us.
Right.
And they didn't want to have another thing like they did, remember?
1968.
Exactly. And
They did. I thought they did an outstanding job. I have to say, though, that it does not appeal to me to see so much fanciness. That idea, if that's what it takes to be a world-class, world government kind of city, I'm sorry, I'm not for it.
I agree.
I got a little bit more of that egalitarian that we're all equal in front of the law.
Yes.
And the people who I value the most are, they don't strut around. Or they're not
I know.
big shots.
They don't swagger around.
Yeah, swagger.
Exactly. No, they swagger.
That's why you
There
have
are
a
those
show.
who swagger.
Right. It's getting worse.
Yes, it is. What would you like to leave our listeners with?
We've got a lot of challenges as far as choices. Like people received their tax bills recently,
Okay.
and a lot of dissatisfaction, as they should be. Sarah's and my tax bill went up 12%, nearly 12%.
Wow.
But we have choices on that, and it's up to us. If we don't like what's happening on the local school board, we need to run for it. People say, "Oh, well, that's somebody else's job."
No.
There was that.
Yes.
You just like, I had to step away from my accounting practice. They should come. Now, if they want to know where they can come, can I put a plug in?
Absolutely.
Okay. On August 11th, we're going to have our annual Porky Picnic. And
Where?
our Porky Picnic is going to be at the Vaughn Center in Aurora, off the Indian Trail. And it is, we'll have 800 to 1,000 people.
Am I going to get an invite?
You sure will.
August 11th.
August 11th. It's at the Vaughn Center on Indian Trail off of Orchard, so that's the west side of Aurora, about a half a mile east of Orchard Road.
Okay.
We'll have 800 to 1,000 people
I'm coming.
who traditional values and conservative, and they're activists. And so if you want to really get pumped up and excited about, man, there are a whole bunch of folks who feel the same way I do. That would be it.
You know what? I cannot thank you enough for coming here. You're one of my favorite senators on the floor. Mwah. And I love your sons that I have met. And take one of my business cards so you remember to send me an email for Porky things. And
thank you, Laura. You do a great job. You're a great example for the rest of us of living with enthusiasm.
I'm just
with
a normal
generosity.
person.
I know you
just
are.
Try to get out there and
But
help
you're
everybody.
terrific.
Thank
You're a
you.
blessing to us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that. And
So, Laura, guess who else I found roaming the halls
who
here?
did you dig up for us to interview?
A state representative.
Oh, yippee.
Kay Hatcher.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Kay. Come on over here.
Is she the one with the gorgeous handbag?
She is. Did you notice the women wear suits down here? It's the uniform.
You guys,
Yeah, we got to
so
do the
chic.
suits. We got to do the suits. We got to do the heels.
Come and sit here.
And we have big purses, too, because we got to carry a lot of stuff in our purses.
Carry a big stick in case any
Yeah.
or get out of line. How are you? I am so very pleased to meet you, and thank you very much for coming on the Laura Dion-Jones show today.
Well, welcome to Springfield. I hope you find it as entertaining as we do.
Oh, my God, entertaining is an understatement. How do you guys keep a straight face sometimes? And how do you keep from wringing somebody's neck?
Well, if you get to the point where you're lucky enough to be able to serve the people, usually you learn to take a deep breath,
okay,
before you make a response to someone. Because
that's a
the
lesson for
truth is, if there's one thing you learn here, each of us are pretty comfortable in our skin, especially. I'm to the point where I've been an adult a very long time. But then you come here, and you listen to the folks who truly do represent their districts, and they say things that make you gasp. And yet, in all truth, they represent the people in their district. Illinois is very, very diverse, and that's probably one of the reasons we have so many issues trying to come to consensus. If you can come up with a piece of legislation that the people in Chicago, the people in Yorkville, the people in Springfield, and the people in Cairo can all agree on, that must be some pretty good legislation.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, it really is. This is an extraordinary state, so I really feel I'm very lucky to be a small part of it.
How long have you been in the House of Representatives?
I'm a fairly new legislator. I'm just in my third year.
Okay.
I haven't served 2 full terms yet.
What did you do before?
Gosh, where do you start? Well, like most of us, I started out as a mom. And actually, I became active in my community when my children went to school.
Okay.
And from there, I eventually turned all my volunteer service into serving a few terms on the school board, 4 terms on the county board, where I was zoning chairman and economic development chairman, and then I was president of the Forest Reserve for a couple of terms.
No kidding.
And then I moved on and led the Republican Federation for a couple of years.
Okay.
And quite honestly, had not really thought about being a state representative, but we had been represented in our area for 18 years by someone who was really a real hero of mine. Her name was Pat Lindner.
Okay, I've heard of her.
Extraordinary legislator.
No kidding.
Extraordinary. I learned a lot from her because when I was on the county board especially, I often worked between Pat Lindner and Tom Cross to get legislation from the county board point to the Springfield point. So the transition was much easier for me than it would be for many people coming to Springfield.
So you feel that your background in like the school board and the county board and the forest reserve, all of that together was acumen for you, was groundwork for you to be a more effective state rep?
There are so many diverse issues, as we talked about earlier, but there's more than just that, because I began life, I grew up on my family farm in Central Illinois.
I was going to ask where you got that accent.
Central Illinois.
Okay.
And so whenever farming issues come up, you know, I've got a few decades experience there, but I also know about things like coal mining. I just have a very diverse background, which if you are going to serve the people of this state well, you have to understand the issues you're dealing with. I was able to hit the ground running when I came here, which was a huge benefit. There were, at the end of 2 years, I saw brand new legislators who were still kind of walking around trying to figure out where the buttons were. And I was able to jumpstart past those, and I think it helped. I also incredibly lucky. I worked for the phone company for many years, and I was the regional point person for anything that would happen with economic development or growth. So I already knew all the leaders in the entire Fox Valley.
Oh, wow.
Far, far beyond what a normal edge would be.
Sure.
So that in itself was lucky. It's just kind of the ripple effect of everything you've done in life that brings you to the house.
What do you think of organic farming? What do you think of organic food?
I think it's awesome.
Do you know why organic food is so expensive?
I don't know if it comes with free-range chicken.
This is a trick question. Organic food is so expensive because they have to pay the crop dusters extra to fly at night. Get it? Okay, well, anyway, let's get down to business here, because I've asked the other 2 senators their opinions, and we'd like to hear from the House. What, in your opinion, are the 3 biggest issues facing Illinois today?
Well, the 3 biggest issues are jobs, and jobs. And that becomes, at this point, an issue that's connected with everything else in the state. We have significant problems in our Medicaid system. We have significant issues with our pension system, both of which we are going to be addressing in this session. It is my hope. You know, we've begun the process, but our state has made some terrific mistakes in the past. And I think many of them were made by well-meaning legislators who simply wanted to do something good for their constituents.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we had a good economy,
Mm-hmm.
it often would hide the flaws that existed in our financial network.
As overspending, et cetera.
Now, because the economy clearly has deteriorated, those flaws have shown up.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something personal. What is the secret to your success?
My secret to my success is listening more than talking.
Ooh, maybe I could take a hint there.
Oh, you're a professional, and you've got to realize you do a lot of listening yourself.
I have to, but I also got to do a lot of talking.
You betcha. Everywhere I go, I learn something. Every email I get, I learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Every phone call, every meeting. You can never be too smart for this job. Somebody's always going to know better than you, and my job is to keep learning.
That's good advice. Let me ask you something. How closely do you work with the senators? Like if you got what's going on over in the House, do you consult or confer with the senators? I know that they have their committee and caucus, and you guys don't meet together, but is there some...
It varies from issue to issue. It really does, because not only are we geographically divided on each side of the House and the Senate and the rotunda, but we often have different perspectives. It's not unusual to see a House bill go over to the Senate, be rather significantly changed, and come back to the House again to review. We are different bodies. I always kind of laugh when I talk to community leaders about Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the Senate, people talk, they turn off their mics, turn back on their mics, they're very polite. If you've ever been at the opportunity to sit in the gallery in the House of Representatives, you've got 118 people, most of them talking, not too many listening, and it sounds like karaoke on a Saturday night.
No way.
The personality between the House and Senate could not be more different. We are the House of Scrappers. There is no question about it. You betcha. We really flesh things out.
Mm-hmm.
There's often very close votes on things. And again, the House discussion often makes the difference in how a bill goes, because on paper, something might look just fine until you hear many differing opinions. Again, it's listening. And that's why quite honestly, when someone will call our office and say, well, how does the representative, how they going to vote on this issue? My answer almost always is, it depends what comes to the floor. Because there may be 5 or 6 amendments added to the bill that makes it completely different.
You know, I heard
where you started.
I heard Senator Lichtenfeld. Is that how you say his last name, Dave Lichtenfeld? I heard him say something very similar today when the people were here from Dwight with the green shirts, the pension people.
Yes.
And they were trying to press him for a promise, for a commitment. And he said it makes no sense to commit his vote until he sees the bill, the final bill.
Sure.
Because he said it just gets changed all the, this, that, the other thing.
Sure. There are some issues with all things being equal. For instance, I am a huge Second Amendment supporter.
Okay.
And anything that deals with those issues, I'm always going to make sure that that is protected.
Good for you.
No matter who's carrying the bill and no matter what the verbiage may be, I truly believe it is a constitutional right.
Sure it is. That's why we're here. That's why you're here.
You bet.
What keeps you up at night?
I've been very blessed in my life, and I think it's because of my experience that I have to look at each issue, analyze it, and then take a deep breath and realize at that point I've learned all I can until I hear more information. People who agonize over things that they cannot control become ineffectual.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis, right?
Just as the people who come in who are always absolutely rigid back on many, many issues. You know, they discover that the definition of politics really is finding common ground to serve the most people.
Wow.
And you have to come in understanding you are not going to get everything that you want in every single bill.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, once again, create a bill that serves the most people in a rational manner, you can make good legislation happen as long as you still stick to your core ideals and understand that there are a lot of flexibility in other parts of our debate.
I have tremendous admiration for you, Representative Hatcher.
Well, thank you.
And I can't thank you enough for your time and for coming by the Rotunda here in the state capitol to visit with us and give us a few words of wisdom. And for all those girls and women out there who want to get into politics,
I would love to be able to help them. There are lots of organizations, and they can always just give me a call. I speak to women's organizations at the drop of a hat. And I'd like to thank you for inviting me by, because we don't often get an opportunity to share the inside look at what Springfield is like.
well, you know what? People wanted to know, my listeners wanted to know, and we wanted to demystify the legislative process just a little bit with some personal tips from you and Senator Pancaw and Senator Lawson, and, you know, we didn't know who was going to stop by.
There are 118 of us, and each of us is as different as the areas and the constituents we serve.
Thank you very much for coming by. It was just an incredible pleasure to meet you and exciting to have you here with us today on the Laura Dion-Jones Show.
Thank you.
And I love your handbag. You're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we are on the air live from the Illinois State Capitol in Springfield, and it's like we have 5 more minutes to go, and I am just nuts. I want to thank my gang, Mike and Valentine Bennett from the Aviators. He was our guest last week. And, of course, thank you to all of our loyal listeners. And don't go anywhere, Senator Pancaw, because we got a special song for you girls. I always end my show with a song. Next Wednesday, May 30th, my very special guest on the Laura Dion-Jones Show is Gia Claire. She's a personal transitional specialist, and she's the author of Head First. It's kind of like Eat, Pray, Love meets Sex in the City. Gia engages and encourages women everywhere to become deliberate creators of their lives. So she'll be with us next week, so tune in to see what she can do to help you find the new you. And please be sure to join us the next 2 Wednesday afternoons on the Laura Dion-Jones Show on WRMN. Tune in. There's all kinds of interesting talk. And on June 6th, that is going to be my last show for a while. And I'm taking the summer off. I have several new opportunities that I have to explore. A new personal life is in order for the diva here. And I ask you to please keep the door open and the light on for me at the station, because I might be back even before you know it. Today's show has been brought to you by Mikey.
The fine folks at Dr. Claire Olea. She is located right here in Elgin, 2001 Larkin Avenue. If you want to give her a call, her number is 847-888-9988.
And snobhounds.com. Team Nike meets Donna Karen, but for canines. Thanks again, Casey, for making this show and all of our shows possible. And please get everyone to read my weekly motivational blog on elgin.bocajump.com. Click on blogs. And this is the Laura Dion-Jones Show. I'm Laura Dion-Jones. Let's have one last goodbye from Senator Pancaw.
Goodbye, everybody. Come down and see us in Springfield sometime.
Absolutely. And we also want to thank again Illinois State Rep. Kay Hatcher.
Thank you again, and please let us know what you're thinking. It makes us better at what we do.
And these girls are serious, honey. And I have one last thing to tell you today. It's never too late to be happy. It's all up to you and no one else. It's never too late to be healthier. It's all up to you and no one else. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Bye-bye from the Illinois State Capitol and Senator Carol Pancaw, our most gracious hostess who had me come down to be paged for a day, the experience of a lifetime. Thank you for having us and keeping me out of trouble today and not getting arrested. And keep all of our troops over in the Middle East and around the globe in our prayers. We absolutely love being here with you, more than you will ever know. Mikey, thanks for the happy. And now our special tribute to my 2 legislative pals here by the late but great Donna Summer. She works hard for the money. And let me tell you something, Senator Pancaw and Representative Hatcher work real hard for all of you kids, too. You know the drill. Download it and get your butts out walking. Semper Fi, kids. Pray for peace.